What's going on, YouTube? Donnie B all day here. It's beautiful outside. I figure great day for a knife review. This is what I'm bringing you today. If you like Russian made things like motorcycles and women, then you're probably going to dig this. This is the Russian made Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X in D2 steel. This knife is Russian strong. It's just really cool. This isn't, daddy's Rambo survival knife. Wow, really cool. This is not a Jimmy Lyle knife. This is the Hollywood Productions knife, where this one is either pinned or screwed in on the end. If you try to whack something with this, the blade's probably going to break off and you're going to be pissed. So if you want to use a survival knife, get a survival knife that's made to be used as such. With that, I would go with this. I like to compare knives when I can, give you something to hold on to as far as, well, what's it like. I think this one is more like the Boker, which I haven't got in yet. It'll be coming. But what I can compare it to is the Schrade. This survival knife and this survival knife are pretty close, where this one has some better features like the steel, and this one has some better features like the fact that it's one solid piece. I'm not going to review this knife today, but I will get into it. Just hold tight on that. So right now, let's go over this big guy right here. The blade is, I believe, 7.5 inches. I'd measure it because it has a ruler. I don't know if you could even see that, but there's a ruler right on the blade. The problem is I can't take it off and measure, so I'm just gonna guess. It is made in Russia. It's D2 steel. It's very strong. Now, the survival knife is hollow handle, right? It's exactly how a survival knife was built to be, coming off that very first Rambo movie where it made everything famous. Hollow handle, right? Some call them barrel tube handles. You have your typical survival kit with your fishing line and hooks and band-aids and waterproof matches and a Volvo, I think you can put in there. It's pretty tight, but it's the same kit you've gotten for the last 30 years in these things. So I'm not going to open it up to show you because that would just be redundant, which is a cool word if you learn how to spell it. As far as the knife itself goes, it's got a steel handle, which is it's knurled a bit, which gives it some grip, but it's not the grippiest knives. Round handle knives often will turn in your hand, so you have to deal with that. I see a lot of guys take knives with slippery handles, and what they'll do is they'll use the tennis racket tape, which is fine, if that's what you like. That's great. However, if we're talking survival knife, I think, why not use a survival wrap? So I didn't do it because I'm reviewing the knife. I'm not reviewing my tastes and skills. But it's common to take fishing line, wrap it around the handle. Then you can take some paracord and wrap it around that. You can take a little piece of athletic tape and tape down the end of it. That makes it true survival. You could do this with any survival knife. If you have the SE6, you can wrap it. If you need extra things, if I'm left-handed, so what I could do is I could take a ferro rod and line it right here and then wrap it. That way it doesn't impede my grip. It doesn't make it any more uncomfortable because my palm is on this half of the handle. So if I put a ferro rod under some line and put it there, it's going to add to the grip, but it also adds to it being survival. Fishing line, fishing hooks, ferro rod, you could put band-aids wrapped under everything. If you're not using tape, you can just unwrap and get to all your stuff, and all your survival gear can actually be attached right to the outside of your handle if you know what you're doing. And since I just explained it to you, you do now. So hey, pretty good. You guys are already smart. So let's go over this edge. This edge is shave sharp out of the box. It's fantastic. It's got like a quasi semi edge going along the spine, which some people don't like for batoning purposes. They don't enjoy having somewhat of an edge there because it's going to break my baton. Your baton is free, bro. All right, you got it in the woods. It's a stick, so don't worry about that. You also have a false edge here, and being is that it's a drop point and it's very round, that false edge actually assists with your stabbing abilities. So the threading on the screw cap, forgive me, is on the outside, unlike the Schrade, which is different. The Schrade, the threading is on the other side, so I don't even know if I can get to see this, but when I work the stick for my Schrade to make a spear, what I did is I made it just a little bit oversized at the bottom. That way when I put the knife on, I can actually screw it onto the wood and it gives it a really, really tight fix. With this one, it's smooth, so I just, you know, carved out, and I have to just work it down. But it actually, if you carve it right, you're going to end up with a very, very good tight fit on there, and it's not going to lose it. I'm going to show you how to throw that thing. Well, not how to. I'm pretty sure you know how to throw a stick. If you don't, woohoo, you got some issues. So what I'll do is I'll do that in a bit, but what I want to do is, you know, get some chopping in and this and that. People think that because it's a hollow handled knife, it obviously can't chop because it's weak. That's not true. I don't know if you could see these little screws. Of course you can. You got eyeballs. So these little screws right here are holding in the blade from the inside. Now this is not waterproof, but it is water resistant. Now I've seen people test these where they went basically swimming, and if you're going to spend 4 days in the water, then you're going to get leakage. It's going to come through. But if you're out there hiking and you have your pack on your back and you're carrying all your gear, there's a pretty good shot you're not going to be walking through 5 feet of water. So water resistant is really all you need. If I'm crossing a stream and I have all my gear on me, my thinking isn't I want to see where the deepest part is. My thinking is I want to walk through the shallows, and that's how I'm going to get across. Every now and then you're either going to slip because, you know, you're 6 foot 100 and you're going to fall down. Gravity works that way. Or you might just hit a hole. You might hit a deep spot and you might go in and plunge and boop, it goes in, it comes out. If that happens, water's not going to get in this thing. It does a really good job of holding out the water, even though that's exposed, right? So on a typical survival knife like the Rambo, in here there's gaps and water just goes right in. It's not going to stop. With the Schrade, it's one piece. Water will not go in. That is waterproof, water resistant. Waterproof, water resistant. All right, we see how that works. So this blade is really cool. One thing I wish it had, I wish all survival knives had, is a choil. I love choils. They make feather sticking and carving so much simpler. When I don't have a choil, I use the side grip. Beep, beep, beep. It's really easy. I'd like to lie and say it's fun to do, but no work is fun. We just do it because it's something we have to do. This does have 2 lanyard holes. 2 or 3 lanyard holes is really good, because if you take paracord, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but it really works. You can try it someday. Take paracord and you can braid it through. 3 holes you can make a stronger braid, obviously. 2 holes you can make a twist. The 2 holes making a twist makes a very strong cord. So the more cord obviously you have twisted together, the more of a rope it becomes and the stronger it becomes. Now if you're stuck in a place where you've fallen down somewhere, or you need to get up there and you're stuck down here, with cordage stuck through there, twisted together and tied on, you can throw this knife up over a tree limb or whatever, And if you can get it caught like a grappling hook, you can actually use this to climb out of danger, like Indiana Jones. So that's a really cool thing to have. Is more than one lanyard hole. I really like jimping. You can see that the jimping on there is really nice. It's a nice little serrade. It works well. Since I don't have a finger well, I don't have a finger choil. Boop, boop, boop. I have that jimping, which is going to help on different aspects. So let's put this thing through a little bit of work and show you at least what it can do. Okay, so here we are at my pallet, which we all have come to know and love. I have more, so don't worry. When this one's finished being destructed, I will change it over. So I'm going to take a few whacks at this point here, which I think I can see, and we'll just see, even with a hollow handled knife, that it can chop. And it can't just chop. It actually chops really well. So look at the damage that's coming onto this. It's pretty significant. It's pretty easy to see. That's just all day stuff. Now, looking at the blade, I'm going to post my camera up so we can take a good look at this. All right, look at that blade. Cha-cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha-cha. This blade has no folds, no ripples, no chips, no bends. It doesn't even have streaks or marks showing that it was struck. It is very good edge. It's D2 stool. That's poop. It's D2 steel, and D2 steel we know is tool steel, and it is very strong. With that said, it's harder to sharpen. So if you're dinging it up, just know what you're doing with a sharpening stone, or whatever you have, whatever means you have to sharpen. Remember, on harder steel, if you get a little chip, which you're not going to find too many chips in these blades from banging on them, I can guarantee you that. But if you do, just remember that if you're using like a whetstone, to go at almost a 90-degree angle first until your chip is gone, and then you can start working your profile and blah blah blah. This isn't a tutorial, this is a knife review. So with that, let's go into some other stuff. We're gonna do some drops, and I might even crack down on a crappy log, and then we'll do some spears and things like that. All right, okay, I'm back again, but I didn't really leave. So here we go. We're just going to do some drops, and we're going to test the balance of the blade with a blade that's weighted to the front. You'd think that it should be dead straight. We will see, and of course it is. Now remember, we pry the blade out sideways to see the tip strength, and we pick it up when it falls down, because it would be rude to leave it there. Mama raised us right. So we pry. You know, I last tested the Sheffield MOD, and I have to say that just from simple drops, the MOD had a much stronger bite. While this one goes in, and it's going in easily, it's not biting, and I'm assuming and guessing it's just because of the weight. That one was 1.5 pounds. This one is not even close. But again, you have a hollow handle, so you have less weight pulling the blade to the ground, right? Less gravity. That is going to change when we do the spear test. As for now, hollow handle knife. Let's dig it in there. Let's pry it. Dig it in there. Let's pry it. And we have no tip damage. You like how I showed you from way over here, like you could see it? Just believe me, all right? Take my word for it. No tip damage, no edge damage. There is nothing wrong with this knife. I didn't run it over with a semi, but I hit it into some wood like you're supposed to. As a survival knife, that's what you want, and you want to know that it's going to survive banging into wood. This one does. Very good knife so far. Let's continue the test. I know they say, mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys, but I say, mama, don't let your babies grow up to be survival knife reviewers. It's a pain in the ass. All right, so let's choke up on this guy, and we're just gonna run the blade across the stick. A lot of my curls are falling to the ground. They're really, really tight and really thin. Again, my little side grip here is doing the trick. I just wanted to do a couple to show you these very, very fine feathers. I mean, if I made another one, I could glue it together and put it to flight. It's really, really nice. Does a good job. Survival knife. Rah! All right, so here I go. I'm about 10 yards away from my target, and for you metric people, that's exactly whatever it says on your calculator. Well, that's pretty nice. Now let's see how that bite is. Oh yeah, that actually went in. Holy moly, that went in a good 1.5 inches, right? So let's try again, back up some more. I'm gonna throw it a little bit more power. Now I don't know if you noticed, this was the plan. What I wanted to do was skate it off of one tree and gently caress the other tree, because I wanted to prove that it can also do trick shots, right? And if you believe that, your next bed is going to be made of bubble gum. You know what? Let's go over and take a look at it together. Why? Because I lied earlier. We are friends. Okay, look at this. Let me get under there. Look at the bite, right? 7.5-inch blade. You'll notice that false edge is completely buried. Here's a little flat part between this little tiny edge and that false edge. So let's look at it come out of there. Wow, that's pretty good. All right. All right, so here we have a legless, earless, round rabbit. Some people call it a soccer ball. Let's see if we can get it. Remember that time I didn't tell you how I was a professional spear thrower? Yeah. Hey, maybe I will change my profession. I'm retired, I don't have a profession. But hey, wow, check that out. Looks like it's time to get a new soccer ball. Whoop. Okay, so the Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X and D2 steel. Final thoughts. Well, it's really, really cool. This knife, it literally takes everything I throw at it. I had more fun with it on another day, so this isn't the first time I actually used it. And it did everything then, it did everything now. Again, I didn't totally abuse the knife. I didn't try and break it. I did try and maybe see if I can get some D-lam on this edge or something, and nope. Maybe dull it a little bit so I could say, well, that's what it takes to dull it, and now I need to sharpen it. Nope, it's the blade held up as advertised, which I don't really know because it's in Russian, so maybe they are saying something other than what I believe it is. But all in all, this knife is probably the single best hollow-handled survival knife, all-out survival knife that I've ever used. The only reason I would give it that designation over the Schrade, which I love because it's a solid piece, the edge and the D2 steel gets the nod over the Schrade. It's just a little bit better edge retention and overall steel. but honestly, you can't go wrong with either one. I'm thoroughly impressed. I love it. It's awesome. This is something I will use a lot more of. Don't let the balance fool you just because it's heavy in the front. Who cares? When you're adding it to a stick and you're chucking that bad boy, I mean, you want that. You want a good straight flight, and all that weight up here is gonna give you that. So I would possibly wrap some fishing line and then some cord over that to give it a better grip for when you're doing bushman tasks, not just for the grip, but then you'll also have extra line and cordage, or you could put other stuff in here. You could take this little thing out and put in your ferro rod or magnesium rod, anything. And also, you know, this makes for a really good striker. I didn't show you guys on video, you know, forgive me, but it really does a good job as a striker. That being said, YouTube, have a great day. This is Donnie B all day saying until next knife.